I have a real sense of urgency with what I'm doing. I'm only in control of a very small piece of land, but I feel a very powerful sense of urgency to do anything that I can to help conserve what little we've got left. Every acre that's lost is lost forever. It's one of those things that you don't realize you passed the point of no return. And when that happens, it's gone and you can't get it back. We are losing the grassland ecosystem, and it will be gone, possibly within my lifetime, if we don't do something to change it. I got into ranching primarily to protect the environment. I'll take this ridge, you take that ridge. Yep. Moose! It seems like a dichotomy to be a cattle rancher and an environmentalist, because people think that cattle are bad for the environment. Cattle are bad for the environment in places where cattle don't belong. And cattle are great for the environment in ecosystems that have evolved to need large herds of large grazers. The Great Plains of North America have evolved to be grazed by large herds of grazers, which were bison and are now cattle, and they're a keystone species in that ecosystem. Whereas if I went to the Amazon rainforest and then I put cattle in a feedlot, that's not good for the environment. The conventional way to ranch would be to just put cattle in a large space and then not move them until the grass is gone. And that was thought to be the best way to manage things until we saw the damage that was done from that. The thing that we do differently, we are rotationally grazing the cattle, and we want to mimic how bison grazed by having cattle moving on a regular basis in high density groups in a regenerative, natural, sustainable way. I definitely believe in climate change. I think we're seeing those effects all the time. We're currently in a drought, and this is the worst drought since the 1500s. I am nervous. I'm very nervous about the world that my kids are going to inherit, which is why I'm working so hard to change that. We're not on a good path, and that scares the heck out of me. So I'm working with a pretty serious sense of urgency to change that. My goal is to be a link in the chain of my family of stewards of the land, and so I'm just trying to be the strongest link that I can, and to help build my kids and their kids into, hopefully, into people that are also going to join that chain to protect this and value it. The first step is valuing it. If you don't value it, you don't want to protect it. And it takes sacrifice to protect.
Now,
I love how much grass is in these eggs.
cut in the butter until it's
Put it that, you boys.
Mom,
Yeah, right.
she actually got all of it.
Only a quarter cup. We have too much butter here. Let's do this. I felt like we were treading water. We didn't own any land. We were renting. We didn't have long-term rentals. So I didn't feel like we could make a lasting difference, because the next year maybe we didn't have that land anymore. Maybe we wouldn't have money to buy more cows next year. So we were trying, but we were always up against something.
2019 was a really tough year. I feel also like that damaged me. This whole thing has been really hard on my marriage because having little kids, taking on a ton of financial risk, and then the work, the absolute work of it, like spending all your time working and then you're worn out. That was really hard on my marriage. It was really hard.
Those days were frustrating, and I felt overwhelmed, like it was never gonna change. I felt like I was walking uphill in a snowstorm.
But it was the start of a huge journey, and I said that to Steph. We're in this together, and we just need to figure out a way to make it work.
I think change is hard. To improve on yourself, you have to look at what you're doing, learn from it, and then build on it. Because the world is changing, and we have to change with it, or we're not going to survive.
Are we doing enough to save the environment? We know that wildlife is disappearing, that birds are disappearing. We can't continue to abuse nature. It's not going to last. And so what Ben's doing is great because they're working with it. You want to move it this way, Ben. Move it this way. And now we'll get like this.
You need another one?
Yeah, and now we just close it like this. And now it's a set thing. Here, we'll get everyone to stand this way and I'll get the next car to come and park down here.
Yeah, that might be fast.
You're not going to give him 5 to go see his pigs?
Oh, every kid. Never does this not work. Good one, you got me. Oh, this is perfect. Before we get to the fun part of the tour, while I still have everyone's attention, this is my favorite plant. Of all the plants, you can pass it around or you can take a grab of it. It's called Cicer milk vetch. So instead of buying fertilizer, which has a lot of emissions and it's just a whole thing, we try to plant plants like this that take the nitrogen from the air and just put it in the soil. So they're drought tolerant, they're non-bloating, which means the cows can eat as much of them as they want without getting sick. So this is my absolute favorite. We almost had none of these here 5-10 years ago, and it's exploding, the population of these. So I'm really pleased to have them. So okay, now the boring part of the tour is over and we can go see some of the animals. I don't see myself as a rancher. My job is an ecosystem manager, and the cattle are one of the tools that I use to manage the ecosystem. One of the funniest things, come to my ranch and see my farm tour of my cows. There's no cows here. Those are not my cows, those are my neighbor's cows. My cows are on a hill way over there, and every time we have a farm tour, there's no cows because the cows are rotationally grazed like a herd of bison. And so they're always moving and they're always in a new spot. 2 days a year, it's got cows. 363 days a year, it's got nothing but just nature. Someone saw a badger right in front of our house the other day. I get phone calls from my neighbors all the time. There's a badger in your field. Like I need to go shoot it immediately. And I'm like, good, I've been waiting for a badger because we've got too many gophers. Well, then you get badger holes. Well, yeah, badger holes are habitat for foxes and rabbits and burrowing owls. The way that we're doing it actually produces more beef than a conventional system, but it's also more open for nature. So we'll walk up to the chickens and I'll let you take the back end and I'll take the front end. I used to say that I was a grass farmer, but I think now people are realizing that maybe we're soil farmers because what I'm really focusing on, I think, how does this affect my soil life? This is overgrazed pasture I stole from a neighbor's, and look at the root difference. You see that? Full of roots, can't open it up, no roots at all. This is just an overgrazed, continuously grazed. The grazing strategy would be to put cows in here in June and take them out in October. This would have cows on it twice a year, once in the spring, once in the late summer for 1 day at a time. I'm organic matter, we're all organic matter. My shirt is cotton, it's organic matter. And so that's what's in here. The reason it's black is bacteria, fungi, worms, worm poop, arthropods, all sorts of little things. This overgrazed one will produce $80 an acre, $50 an acre. This one will produce $300 an acre. This canola, almost $1,000 an acre. And that's sort of the struggle that we're facing when someone's making $1,000. It's pretty hard to compete with that. That, I used to graze right on the other side of the road. I used to graze my cows on that. That's now a canola field. Field over there that's freshly ripped up that used to be a pasture that's now grain. So I'm trying to be economically viable against crop farming, and time will tell. Growing up, I didn't understand the world. I was finding my values and I didn't know what they were. Do I value money, status in society, being good looking, uniqueness, popularity, being loved? But when you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, you'll know it and you can feel it. It feels like strumming a chord or being in harmony with the universe or with your greater purpose. This ranch is my canvas. This is an expression of me. This is my one painting that I get to paint in my life, and this is my life's work. And we have this world that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And for our kids to not know that beauty is just gut-wrenching. The drought now, we've had 3 out of the last 5 years have been drought years. Yeah. It's not normal to have no rain at all. Like last year we had no rain at all from July 15th for the rest of the summer. One of the problems I have is in a drought, we have limited rainfall. And because of the way that we graze, we have really good water absorption into the soil, which means we have very little surface runoff. So the ponds can run dry before the grass is even gone. So in order to create a fencing system that makes moving cattle on a daily basis really easy and mimicking how the bison move, I have to put these water points in the field away from the ponds and not be bound to where the ponds are. And you don't want cattle concentrating manure and urine on the inflow of a pond, and the same way you don't want cattle concentrating manure and urine on the outflow of a pond. And so by moving this away from the flowing water, I'm making sure that manure and urine can have a chance to soak into the ground instead of being washed off the farm into a river. Prolonged drought changes things, but even 1 year of drought can bankrupt a guy if you're not in a good financial position. Yeah, so this is crucial. This is crucial to a lot of things. This is the first one that we're installing. We haven't installed any, so this is like really clutch moment to see if it's actually going to work or not. I'm very confident that this will work. I've spent 2 years planning this and tens of thousands of dollars buying it, and so I hope it works. It would be really bad if it didn't work, but I have to be an optimist and say that it will, and if it won't, then I'll find a way. Farmers find a way, so that's what I have to do.
He was always a big talker, likes to solve things, likes to understand things. He wasn't particularly interested in the cowboy farming thing. But other than that, he's not going to tell you when he falls. I mean, he's going to come and tell you, look at all the good things I did. He's not going to tell you, oh, yeah.
Oh, bullshit. I make lots of mistakes.
I know.
What?
Here, just this. I'm gonna have to play with it when we get home, but this will get it home without breaking.
We used to fight so much. We were not friends. And now I'm so close with my dad. He's one of my best friends. I talk to him almost every day. Do you have a thermometer on the lid?
Yes.
Okay, then close it. Let's get this. So it has to be like really warm.
It has to be about 350, which is really warm.
No, should be like 500.
You're about ready now. Feel the heat.
It's not even hot over here.
Yeah, you can move the steaks around or move the grills around or move the fire around. Relax. Don't you have something else to do? Aren't you supposed to like turn them the other way?
Yeah.
Turn?
On the second flip.
No, there's a latch here. Here, lift it up.
What do you think?
Yeah, this is great.
I got this from Ray.
Keep it up.
I got this from Ray. He gave it to me like 4 years ago. And it's
As a mom, I'm really proud of Ben. Tony and I are both proud of him. If more people were open to change, which is a hard thing to do for anybody, think of the impact there would have on carbon and on the grasslands. But maybe it's going to take this younger generation like Ben taking over these farmlands. I mean, in the old days, they would leave the cattle on there till there wasn't a blade of grass left, and then they'd move them. They thought they were getting their money's worth. Well, not so much.
You're a good dad, and you've taught me lots of life lessons. Despite your best effort. No, you taught me about returning things in better shape than you borrowed them. And being a good person doesn't come from how you're born, it comes from your actions.
You can hold your head high, you're doing something that's good.
Yeah.
You know? I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Dad.
It's important that you are content within yourself. Well, if you aren't, then you're never going to be happy. And that's all everybody wants. You want the people that you love to be happy.
The reality is that this area is changing from climate change, and so it's becoming drier. So if we want to continue to have healthy green growing grasses, we need to keep grazers here. The biggest emitters of pollution that causes climate change in this area, it's been the conversion of grasslands into cultivated crops. So the carbon cycle on a healthy ecosystem is that you have carbon dioxide in the air and it's absorbed by the plants. That carbon dioxide that they breathe in, they release it as oxygen and they keep hold of the carbon and they form starches and sugars. There's two ways that plants store carbon. Underground, which is where it's safe and stable. One is through the plant's body itself, growing roots down underground. The other way is through root exudates. Plants actually leak sugar into the soil, which grows mycorrhizal fungi that bring water and nutrients back to the soil. And it can increase the surface area of a plant's root by 10,000 times. When you cultivate the soil, you flip the soil over and break it up, there's oxidization that happens to those microorganisms. So the soil begins to die. When it dies, it's released as carbon dioxide into the air. And when you give plants fertilizer, they have no need to put out root exudates and feed the mycorrhizal fungi. It breaks that cycle. And the same thing can happen in cattle agriculture. If you're overgrazing pastures, the plants they become sick. They're not meant to be overgrazed. You know, when you have that, you break the cycling because the plant now has no ability to grow and feed the soil. Methane is a really powerful greenhouse gas, but methane production is natural. And so when there were just wild bison here, there was methane production. It's like anything in nature, there's a balance. And when things are in balance and they're cycling and they have methane coming in and methane coming out, it's okay. When cattle go into a pasture, they are surrounded by methanotropic bacteria, which feed on methane. But when you have cattle sitting in a feedlot eating corn and a truck is delivering it, they're not part of the carbon cycle, and methane is a carbon molecule. They're just adding carbon into the atmosphere. The problem with all of these cycles is when they're broken. So the specific things that I do here that are key functions of regenerative agriculture is leaving a lot of life left. When I have a pasture that's full of grass, if it's got 18 inches of grass, I'm going to take half of it only. So I'll take 9 inches, the top 9, and leave the bottom 9. But the most important thing is that I've even allowed the grass to get so high in the first place, and it's feeding the soil, and the soil is full of microorganisms and acts like a sponge when water hits it. And that water's slowly released and slowly available to the plants and animals that live underground. So we're still growing grass even when it's dry. It keeps the soil cool even when it's hot. When we do get rain, my fields absorb more rain. So you'll see my fields will be very green, and overgrazed fields will be very brown and very short. So you can see the difference between these two fields. This one was overgrazed for many years. It's more of a monoculture. You don't see any active flowers this time of year. It's not very green and it's not growing. And then this is starting to come back. This is a bit of a success story. So this was abused for 30 years. All it was just hayed and all the nutrients were mined off of this field. Everything was taken from it, and then we stopped haying it and started grazing it only for about 5 years. And it started to come back to life and produce. This is a drought. This is a field that was already grazed once and was abused for 30 years, and was a terrible, hot, dry summer, and it's still in pretty good shape, and that's after only 5 years of regenerative grazing. This is pretty neat. You can see this really short, overgrazed grass, and that's, of course, bad, next to grass that's not overgrazed and it's healthy. And the reason that it's like that, it's just about this far out, and that's because it's right next to the fence, and my neighbor's cows will stick their heads through to eat grass on my side. So that's a compliment to my grazing that his cows are giving me. This is economically going to be more productive, which is important to keep farmers farming, because if you can't make any money off of it, then it's going to be ripped up and seeded to canola. Ecologically, this is absolutely swarming with bees and dragonflies and butterflies, because it's full of flowers, because the grass is able to mature and grow, and there's a multiple species in here. There's probably a dozen different species of plants here, and that's only because this was cultivated and seeded to a hayfield at one time. If it was native, instead of a dozen species, there'd be 200 species maybe. It's hard for me to imagine my grandchildren living here and not getting to enjoy and see what I enjoy and see today. To imagine that that's gone and doesn't come back is a scary thought.
Thinking about the future of our grasslands, I get emotional because there's so much money in tearing it up and putting something else in there. And we're trying so hard to protect it. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't have hope. I can see that people are receptive. I am a nurse at the hospital, and patients will talk to me about this kind of stuff. They don't even know that I'm a rancher, but it's on people's minds. The climate of society is ripe for this. We can really make a big difference.
It's not possible to cultivate a native grassland and return it to its natural state. We don't have that ability. So by stopping that conversion of grassland to cultivated land, the immediate impact is that we're going to save all the species that live in grasslands. We have a unique ecosystem that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. We have a unique opportunity to produce beef in a way that's actually beneficial to the environment instead of a detriment. My kids and I love to come out at this time of night. It's after supper, it's before bedtime, and this is when we can come out and we just enjoy. We just goof around, look at things. What type of grass is this? What type of grass is this? Look at this beetle that I found. And I want them to be able to do that with their kids. To be able to look around and see different types of grasses and find different types of insects and see different types of birds flying around and the biodiversity. That's the joy of this is the diversity of it. I'm not trying to change it or make it better. I just want to just get out of the way of it and let it do its thing. And this is this is nature doing its thing. It's great. Like it's just an honor to be in the presence of a herd of large ruminants grazing grasslands and keeping them healthy and just being part of this ecosystem. I love nature. I absolutely love nature, and I get to be a part of it when I manage cattle.